morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing?
Great.
Awesome. I don't know how closely you guys were listening to me up here, but you're experiencing me with a NyQuil hangover. My head is spinning and spinning. I don't know if it's from, because I threw, most of you know I had my legs pretty much cut off and sewed back on. And what you guys did was amazing. I was just sitting back, pretty emotional all week. After that, that was very hard for me to sit up here and do.
Yeah.
But man, the feeling that it brings, you guys are my why. I think I've shared that. I'll share a little bit more how I discovered my why and what you guys mean to me. But that was pretty incredible. I appreciate it immensely. But anyway, you get to see me a little bit on NyQuil hangover this morning, so please forgive me. Rachel, you're brand new. You're looking at us. You're still trying to take your test, or where are you at?
I'm done with the test.
Done with the test.
Yeah, I'm just kind of.
So you passed. You got win it. Congratulations. This goes on every morning. At 7 o'clock, we have a role play here every morning that we do at 7. Those of you who want to come in and do that, we had a blast this morning, didn't we?
Yeah, it was great.
Incredible. So it polishes your skills. So Adam, this is what, second or third time?
Yeah, I'm down to 15 hours. I
Down to 15 hours.
Class,
He's in there taking his 18 hours.
It's something.
So he's entering back into the real estate world, and we're really excited. And welcome back, Heather. It's the first time since we hit this floor, correct?
Yes.
That's awesome. We love it. It's awesome.
It's time.
So we have, give me your name again.
Amelia.
Amelia from California. Welcome.
Thank you.
This is Everest Central. So we are at the top of the mountain right here. So top of Everest. So gratitudes, victories. What do we have today? Wow. I'm the only one with a gratitude and a victory?
You're the only one that had NyQuil.
Oh, it had NyQuil? It's funny that I'm even, because I feel like I'm floating up here. So, Mike.
Yeah, I'll share a gratitude that Eric just shared with me. He was negotiating a deal while snowboarding yesterday.
What?
And he got under contract, so that's awesome.
It's good to see you here this morning.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Anybody else? Victories, gratitudes, wins? Yes. Evan.
This might sound crazy, but I am just so grateful for there's no pain in my teeth.
Oh.
I had this huge pain for months in my teeth, and finally got to the dentist. I hate going to the dentist.
Who likes going to the dentist, right?
So I finally don't have anything.
Nice. Well, that's good. Thanks for the victory and gratitude. So anyway, it's Monday morning. We have the great George Morris here to present to us this morning. So if you'd like to come up and get us going, George, that'd be great.
You know what? I'm now sitting back there with Taylor, and now I know why everyone back on the back row is always laughing, Jeff, because he's always got a one-liner going.
Oh, yeah.
Something's happening. I can only imagine what he's saying about me when I'm up here. It's gonna be nice.
You don't want to know.
I know. I don't know if I want to know. Welcome. Good to see you here. Welcome, Ray. Welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Okay, so we've been talking a ton about the listing presentation, as you guys know. I know Dylan's been making a bunch of calls. If you haven't gotten a call from him, that just simply means he doesn't have your phone number, because we're signing up for this Everest sales system stuff, and it's going to be awesome. So hopefully expect to have you there. So he asked me a question last week by text, Matt Salter here, and he said, hey, so why do you do this meeting at 8? And there was years ago where we did it at 7:30, and there's years where I've done it at 8, and then I have even seen it across the board at 8:30, and here's my answer to you. Ready? Is that I don't think it matters when you prospect, as long as you prospect. And people get a lot caught up into this idea that it has to be at a certain time, and my observation is that if you move your life in a deep level of this idea that life is scarce, is that you miss out on the very, very people. And in fact, you asked me if I prepared, Taylor. Prepared my whole life for this very moment. But I just want to point out to your question, Matt. This is This is, and I have to tell you, this is hot off the press because I just did a daily message on this that I'm sure will come out in the next day or two. But I just want to point this out, just a couple of things. And then we'll jump into the presentation like what we've been working off of. So here's number one, and that is master your story, and you will master your life. So here's the deal. So here's my observation is that you can talk about all the things that are not working, things that are not happening, things that you would love to see happen that aren't. My observation is that this story, whatever story you tell yourself, is the story of your life. And then the thing is that we can work off of this word called faith. We can use another word, belief. But what I'm really talking about is really where you're moving your life and what you're thinking about. And then the second part of that is this idea of trust, and your trust is shown by the action that you take. So you can say, hey, I believe this is going to happen for me. But if you believe it and then you don't act, well, then there's probably a problem. Sometimes you've even heard that faith is a principle of what? Action. Because you have to act, right? That you believe. You have to believe that it's possible. Especially some people who are coming into this business. So this business is about one thing, in my observation. If you master the story, you'll master the way you earn money. And most people never really master the story. And so they have a story that is not empowering them and making their life better. And if you don't focus on this story, then the challenge is that you will start writing ones that don't serve you well. So I've often said for years that some of you need to divorce your old story and marry a new one. And if you have a story that's empowering you and building you and helping you and serving you, then that's the story that you have. That's a great story. But we have patterns in our story. We have rituals within our stories. We have habits within our story that so often are not serving us. And if you look at the trifecta of our lives, right, our health, our relationships, and our money, some of us are telling a great story regards to our economics. Some of us are telling a great story in our relationships. Some of us are telling a great story around our health, and some of us aren't. And the story is always reflective of usually these things. What do you believe, and how do you act as results of your life? So just don't underestimate the magnitude of your story. So the other thing I wrote down today was this, and you've heard this, and I say this a lot, but I really believe this, that the universe, and this is part of, I guess I would tell you, Taylor, my story, and that is this. The universe, you can exchange it for whatever you want, God, whatever, but the universe is built to give me everything I want. Pretty simple story. Universe is built to give me everything I want. And then some of you are already here, well, but hold on. Well, that's your story. Because the other stories are either, this is a story of abundance versus scarcity. Oops. And the fact is that most people live very scarce. They live in a finite thought. They live in a finite world unless they are really conscious of abundance. And that there's an endless supply of opportunity, an endless supply of possibility, instead of, oh my gosh, there's only this many leads. Oh my gosh, what if I don't call for me tonight? Oh my gosh! Well, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Well, everybody else is. Everybody else is. That's interesting. Everybody else is, because they are so scarce in their belief. But if the universe is built to give you everything that you want, then my belief, my story is it doesn't matter when I prospect as long as I do, or I prospect. And I've always believed that. I've never been, I've never been of that belief that you have to do things at an exact certain time, because that means I'm living from a place of scarcity. And so I would just make sure that you're really focusing, like, you know what, that's my story, that's my story, right, Matt? My story is, it doesn't matter when I prospect, as long as I do. I didn't just come up with that. It's because I used to think that. Oh my gosh, what if I don't? Oh, and then people, I got to call at 7 a.m. Yeah, I'll break the law because I'll get the advantage over everybody. You're not going to get anything over anybody else doing that. There's like these idiots I see them prospecting at 7 a.m. thinking they've beat the system. Beating what? In an abundant universe that will give you everything that you want? Makes no sense to me. Can't even imagine the stupidity of that. So if you're doing that, stop doing that, because you're living here. Right there. That's where you're living your life. And the thing is that it's all built. Now, here's the deal. What if it doesn't work out exactly? Because, you say, well, George, you're acting like everything's going to work out great. No, I don't. I don't think that. Now I have my other answer, Phil. Right? Now, you can appreciate this doing so much lending. Lender of the year right here, by the way, if you didn't know that. So, right? Right? Self-proclaimed. Right? Number one lender, number one loan officer. All right.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to
That's right. That's right. The universe is built to give everything I want, but here's the deal, right? So all of a sudden you're like, well, I believe it's going to work. And then you act like it's going to work. You go take some action, and then does it sometimes what? Not work. I get that. Sometimes you won't set the appointment. So I had to come up with a better story. So this is what goes on, Tim, in my head. I'm like, oh yeah. All right, we'll put it over here. I put, life is happening for me, not to me. And then I say, what am I supposed to learn from this? Well, it didn't work out perfectly. I called 3 people and I didn't set an appointment. I don't know. Maybe my life is happening for me, not to me. No one's trying to get me, and that comes down to decision. Do I live in a friendly universe? Einstein came up with this, by the way, versus a hostile universe. And you're the only one who can answer that question. Do you live in a hostile or friendly universe? Some people are always wanting to fight. Some people are simply just always friendly. That's your decision. But I can tell you that how you decide to live on this earth is a really, really interesting thing, because you will act accordingly. And I have people that no matter what they do, they want to fight about it. And they're fighting for their right. They're fighting every day for their money. Or they're simply living in a friendly universe, an abundant universe that isn't. See, fighting and hostility means there's a scarcity. And again, you can look. Hey, I go back to whatever pattern, rituals, habits that you have in your life. That's up to you. But I'm just trying to get you down to thinking about. Wait, what if I mastered a better story? What's possible? You may say, well, yeah, it didn't always work out when I made the calls. It didn't always work out when I made the door knocks. It didn't always work out when I went on the listing appointment. It didn't always work out when I went on the buyer appointment. Okay, great. So life's happening for me, not to me. So what am I supposed to learn right here? Oh yeah, my presentation sucks. Oh yeah, I better fix it. Right, Jason?
Right.
Not that yours does. Yours is awesome, by the way. But I'm serious. All of a sudden starts like unveiling to you, revealing to you, where's the next step? Look, it's not an accident that the average agent in this company earns $80,000 a year. It's not an accident that all of a sudden I start working specifically, or someone in the company or managers, all of a sudden they have these little big quantum leaps. There's not any of you in here who can't say, hey, do you have any plans on moving in the near future? There's not anybody who can't say in here, hey, would you mind if I come over and visit with you, share with you a little bit of what I do to get a home sold? There's not any of you who can't drive to a certain home or listing. So the activities of this business are not really the challenge. It's what are you thinking, and what are you believing, and how are you feeling while you're doing the business. That's all that matters. There'll be nothing else. And then there's those people that all of a sudden they make these quantum leaps in this business, and all of a sudden it magically, everyone's like, what happened? What happened is they started telling themselves a better story every time they went out and about during the day. They started telling themselves a whole different message when they went out during the day. And some of you will think, no, it's all about real estate and pricing. No, it's not. It has nothing to do with it. It has nothing to do with the actual real estate itself. And some of you will think that. You think you have it figured out. But I promise you, the people who actually really have it figured out, and their income shows that they have it figured out, is that they figured out this. They figured out a better story. Better than yours. So just remember that as you go through your business, that this business has nothing to do with real estate. You're into people business. And if you are not good at communicating with people, you will not make it in this business. I don't care who you are. You can have all the talent in the world. But this business does not happen if you don't bring this to the table. Because in the end, this is what they're going to feel in the sense of the story, what you believe, what you trust. And I said this earlier in this daily message. I said, you walk into a home, and I say to Jeff back here in the back row, Jeff, gotta make sure I say this with no certainty, Heather. All right, so it sounds really weak, Eric. I'm trying to do this. It's like, okay, come. So I hope that we can get your home sold. And you say, well, what's wrong with saying I hope you get the home sold? Hope, again, I go back to, is not a strategy for this industry. So I hope I can do the job. I hope I can get it done. I hope, and I hope. And I know I've talked about this, but if that's the energy that you bring versus I know we will get your home sold, and I usually fed it with, I know I will get your home sold, Jeff, if you're willing to follow my leadership and my lead in getting it sold. I know we can get your home sold if you allow me to do the things I've done to sell, who knows how many other homes this year. And I'm just telling you that the message and the way you deliver your message of certainty, confidence, belief, understanding is the difference of whether you earn money in this business or not. So it's why we talk in this whole thing of the I am versus, well, I hope, or I will, I am, I will, I must, versus I hope, I think, maybe if. All of that messaging, I'll try, is all absolutely a disaster of language to your whole psyche, mindset, soul, whatever you want to call it. Do not underestimate the magnitude of these stories. Every one of us in our lives will deal with dark moments. We will. We will deal with moments that are so bleak, so dark, so troubling, so challenging, so difficult, so overwhelming. Like you don't know what you're going to do. And I can tell you the only way you get out is you tell yourself a better story. There's a reason why I say your current circumstances do not equal your future. There's a reason why that your past doesn't equal your future. Because if I look back at my past, a lot of it's not that great. For some of you, your current moment may not be that great. But that doesn't mean it's the rest of your life. That doesn't mean it's your future. That doesn't mean that's what it's going to be. But if you don't tell yourself a better story of what it's going to look like, so many of us focus, just a thought, you focus on what you don't want. You focus on what you don't want to have. You focus on what you don't want to have happen. And you have to create the pattern, the habit, the ritual of focusing, because you have the choice, you have the privilege to choose to focus on whatever you want. But so many of us in this room and in life will focus on what we don't want to have happen, and you just keep getting more and more of what you don't want. And you say, well, how does that work? I don't know. I just know that it works. And if you focus on what you don't want, you get more of what you don't want. Focus on what you want and where you're going and where your future is, and why we talk about summits and knowing where you're going and living a purposeful life, then it's a whole different experience for your life. Why Monday is so important to make sure you're telling yourself a good story is because you're going to walk out of this room possibly and tell yourself a story that it's okay that you don't talk to people. It's okay that you don't knock doors today. It's okay that you don't make enough contacts. But if you will tell yourself the story that you're going to, I am prospecting today. I am setting an appointment today. I am going to do my job today. I will knock on this many doors. I will do these things. Is a whole different message than, again, I hope to. I'll try. I'll sit down with agents all the time. I'll say, what's your goal? Well, I'm trying to sell 36 homes. Trying? Well, how many appointments are you going to set? Well, I'm going to try for one. And your story will be, well, I'm just trying to be honest. I'm just trying to tell the truth. Since when did that become your integrity? I only say that because the fact is you're lying to yourself all the time. So if you're going to lie, why don't you tell yourself something good? I'm just telling you, like, why would you not say, my mantra is I set an appointment every time I get on the phone. And then I'll get to people like, well, what if you don't? What does certainty have to do with being right? Every time Michael Jordan took a shot, he's a good golfer too, by the way, but that's not what I'm going to say. Every time he took a shot, Did he believe? Look, think about it. Do you really believe every time Michael Jordan took a shot, do you believe he was going to make it?
Yes.
Do you think he believed it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Did he?
No.
Like 3 people, just so you know. He did not make every shot, just for the record. He made way too many against the Jazz, but he didn't. And it's important to recognize that. So his belief has nothing to do with being right. That is a pattern, it is a habit, it is a ritual of belief that you will set an appointment every day, that you will take a listing every week or every day. You will put a buyer under contract every day, every week. They're just rituals. They're just a story that you tell yourself. It has nothing to do with being right. I can give you many examples where people are absolutely certain. Do you think there are people who are absolutely certain? In fact, here's the crazy part. There are actually still people who believe this, right? That the earth was flat. There's a group of people that still believe that, Taylor. Are you one of them? You're not one of them, are you? Okay? They are absolutely certain and still defend the fact the earth is flat. And they were certain that it was flat. I just want you to think about what people are so certain of, and they're completely wrong. It has nothing to do with that. So the thing is, I go back to, can you believe, can you champion that I am a great prospector, I set appointments daily, I take a listing every day, and you say, well, that's a lot of work. You're right. Here's a quick little story for you. Imagine you are sitting in your house, you get up, and you're like, hey, I need to leave. The power goes out. And all of a sudden you realize you've misplaced your keys. They're inside your house. You've misplaced your keys. The power's out. You can't see. You have no flashlight. There's no light. And something dawns on you. You realize, you look outside and you recognize, oh my gosh, the street light's on. So you walk outside and you go outside the door and you start looking around outside for your keys. A neighbor comes by and says, hey, what are you looking for? Oh, I lost my keys. Oh, great, I'll help you look for them. And he says, where did you lose them? You say, I lost them inside the house. But I couldn't see anything in my house, so I came outside and started looking for them out here because I can see out here. And you say, Ryan, what does that even mean to me? Here's the metaphor, Jeff. Everything you're looking for is not outside of you. Everything you're looking for is already inside of you. Stop looking for the outside or to the outside for all of your answers. It would be like being sick, needing a prescription, and you go to your doctor and he goes, hey, I'll prescribe this for your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, your best friends, those you work with, and let's see if this helps you get better. It's not how it works. So the reason why I always say this is that this business is about working from the inside out, is because so many of you are going, oh, I need more leads. Oh, the market's this. Oh my gosh, the other agents did that. Oh my gosh, there's only this many expired. Only this many first FISBOs. Oh my gosh, so many people have called them. Everyone's calling the same leads. What am I going to do? Everything outside of you. Everything outside of you. It's crazy. Think about how you're approaching this business, your life. What story are you telling yourself all on the outside? Because this business is about mastering yourself. You master yourself, you'll master everything else. Money, look, there's a direct correlation to personal development, developing yourself and your income. It is that simple. You can get it. You can say it's more. It's more complicated. No, the stronger you are, who you are, and the person you've developed, the stronger and the higher your income. The higher your personal development, it always goes hand in hand with your income. So if you're wondering where's the income, I would challenge you to your story. I would challenge you on the inside. And everyone's, I'll get you more leads. More leads will not solve the problem, gang. More leads do not solve the problem of getting to whole other levels in this business. What solves it is all of a sudden you tell yourself a different story. You believe differently. Then you act differently. You show your trust in your belief. The universe says, hey, I get you. You're asking for something. Oh yeah, by the way, you're doing something. Shocking. Okay, well, you know what? You don't even know. Maybe it's not going to work out exactly the way you think it is. But you know what? Life's happening for me, not to me. What am I supposed to learn? Oh, yeah, I was supposed to learn that. Okay, now's my new story. I was supposed to learn blank. Now you go back to work and you get it done. That whole process is a transformation. Right? It is. It's a complete transformation from who you were and what you are today. And the thing, that's where people go, what happened? How did you change so fast? Because the story can change right now. You can tell yourself a new story right now. You can stop telling yourself of how many homes and the limitations of that. You can start talking about, well, the market. You can stop talking about how hard it is. You can quit telling yourself how much you don't like the prospect, how you don't want to be a telemarketer, how you don't want to be that guy or that gal who's known for being a salesperson. You can talk about all of those things. But if you don't master the story, you will never master your life. And I don't care whether we're talking about your health. I don't care whether we're talking about your most sacred, important relationships of your life. I don't care if you're talking about your economics. You have a bad story, you're going to have a bad result. Tell a better story, you'll have a better result. So again, I go back to divorce your old story and marry a new one. That is how you win the game of real estate. And for those of you who don't know me very well, I can talk about skills all day long. That's why I encourage you to get to this thing, because we're going to spend 2.5 days talking about it. But the first hour and a half, we're going to talk about the story. And we're going to get even deeper into what we're talking about. Don't underestimate the power of your story and what it means. We start saying things and limitations of what's possible. Limitations to our parenting. Limitations to who we are. We say things like, well, that's just who I am. No. No. That's because that's the story. People tell the story of people never change. I don't believe that. I have watched numerous agents change. I've watched people change and get as far away from that core, from that ego, from what, and when enough reasons happen, life changes. I recently, just last week, had someone who had been on drugs for years. They're 6 months stable, 6 months clean. And I think it's interesting, I said, as I told you to the other person, people can change. And they can find reasons. That doesn't mean they don't have a desire. But if their desire is greater to be clean than it is to be drunk or greater to be, high or whatever, it's just a story. It's just a story. And some of you have a strong desire to be poor, to have a affliction, to sabotage your future, to say your story of, well, I can't be rich and healthy at the same time. I can only do one. Some of you say, well, I can't focus on my relationship if I'm trying to earn lots of money. Where did that become your story? Why can you not be rich? Why can you not be healthy? And why can you not have your most sacred relationships in line? Why? Because we tell ourselves a different story. And that, I'm telling you, is the game of life. The story you choose to tell yourself. And if you'll change the story, you'll change your life for the better. And sometimes we change our story for not such a good thing. And I'm telling you that you can work through that. And when it's not working right, stop going, oh yeah, see, I knew it. I knew it was going to be like this. I knew it wouldn't work out. I knew it was going to be a challenge, a trouble. This always happens to me. Well, that can be your story. We all have our stories. Or you can tell yourself a different one. Man, what am I supposed to learn from this moment? It's perfect. Deals are blowing up in your face. It's perfect. Life's happening for me, not to me. What am I supposed to learn from this? Versus, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? How am I going to make it? What's going to happen? Oh my gosh. I'm just telling you, think about what you tell yourself. Master your story, master your life. Evan?
I was reading this morning a Millionaire Mindset, and it has correlated with what you were just saying. And what he was saying is that you push print, and it prints and there's typos in there, and we go ahead and just put our eraser on there and try to erase them. And then we push print again, and those same typos are there. He says you have to go into the program and reprogram what's in there, and then push print.
Yeah, I agree. I'll close with this. I was driving on 1300 East, Evan, 25 years ago, and I would scream these words. Scream them. To Baroque music, alone in the car. Baroque music, not broke, not B-R-O-K-E. Those are basically classical music for those of you who are wondering what the hell I'm talking about, just for the record, okay? But there's a lot of research. In fact, the Russians figured this out. Your mind goes into a different cadence. You remember things better when that music is going on. And I would scream with the highest of emotion that I will be the #1 real estate agent in the state of Utah. Now, here's what's interesting. I never forgot that. But I can still remember with our awesome agent, she's now an agent here, but she was in leadership for years and years at different companies, from Wardley Better Homes and Gardens, if you remember those guys, and then also Coldwell. She did some leadership here, dear friend of Heather and others in the room, but Leah Kruger. And I remember sitting when Marie Callender's was over there, and I remember sitting with her, and she said these words, "Hey, you may not know this. You are the #1 agent in the state of Utah." And I said, "Really?" Now, just so you know. Oh, David, I knew. Trust me, I knew. Because this was my script, Evan. If you can find a single agent in the entire state of Utah, and you can find another agent who sold more homes than me, I'll sell your home for free. That was actually a nice script to use once in a while, Matt. And I used it a lot once I arrived there. But my point is it took me 15 years with a declaration from 15 years before that to be able to say that I was the #1 agent in the state of Utah. And my point is that you can master the message, you can master the story. And when I was 22 years old, I would scream in my car, I would yell to the top of my lungs of what I was going to be. Who am I? Right? There's that whole thing, who am I? I'm a champion. Who am I? I'm a champion. We could show that. Show a little clip. Some of you have seen it. I've shown it before in a summit. So who are you? What's the story you're going to tell yourself? And here's the deal. I don't even know if it matters that I became #1 or not, but I really find it interesting that I go back to, there's been enough moments in my life that when I get clear and I got the story down and I'm like fully engaged in my story, I am certain that this universe is built to give me everything that I desire, everything I want, everything that my emotion is wrapped around. I'm going to get every part of it. And I also believe that this universe is friendly, and I believe it's going to protect me. And so when it doesn't happen exactly the way I want, then I come over here and go, oh gosh, life's happening for me, not to me. It's perfect. So what am I supposed to learn? Because this is what I want. And gang, I would just, now for sure and really closing, really, just remember this. That as you move through this deal, just remember that you are the captain of all of this. And you can focus on whatever you want to. And you can walk out today and go, well, that was kind of nice, that was cool. I don't know if I really totally believe in that. Well, that's your story, I get that. And you don't have to believe everything I'm telling you. All my whole thing here is this is just what I've gone through. But I really believe this, that this friendliness of the universe is that it's there also to protect me. And in the great words of Garth Brooks, thank God for unanswered prayers. If you haven't heard that song, you might want to listen to it. But it's a great song. Because you know what? Sometimes maybe it's not supposed to happen exactly the way you think. And then he wrote a song about it, right? Great song. Great song. Because you know what? I believe that this universe is friendly. I believe it's there to protect me. And I believe that, you know what? It's built to give me everything I want. But sometimes maybe that universe, God knows far more than I do. And hold on a second here. Life's happening for me, not to me. Wait a second. What am I supposed to learn? Wait a minute. The deal's imploding. What's going on? I need it. Oh my gosh. Wait a second. Life's happening for me, not to me. It's perfect. You may think not. But I can tell you that it is. Because I'm telling you that this is a friendly universe. Not hostile. No one's trying to get you. And no one's trying to hurt you. But it's crazy how we are so wired to fight and to protect against nothing that's trying to get us. We live in an abundant earth. Unlimited resource. Especially for what you're trying to do. 700,000 households across the Wasatch Front, ladies and gentlemen. Just pick the number that you're going to help. And that means there's 1.4 million opportunities on a buying side or a selling side across the Wasatch Front. And you just need to get in the way of a few of them. So to think there's not enough abundance is absolutely ridiculous and absurd.
If I could, I'd like on a smaller scale to affirm what you're saying. So, for fun on the weekends, wink, I've done property maintenance for a lot of years, so I was fortunate to find a guy that has accounts. I cleaned 4 of his buildings. So we had lunch on Saturday, and I at some point in the conversation, I said, I'm looking for another building or two. And he said, I didn't know. Well, this was all in my head. When I'm doing 4 buildings on Saturday, and I'm driving up to Parley's, I'm like, I feel good, I could do 4 more. But I never told him, I never asked for it. So 1 minute after that, we went to lunch. He said, you want another account? I got another account. He took me around the corner, and he handed me, so to speak, $1 million building in South Jordan and said, you want it? Easy question.
Yeah, I love it.
So
Yeah,
there's 5 now.
I love it. Some of you will get a kick out of this. I'm going to add to that. I love that, by the way. Thank you. Remind me your name?
Adam.
Adam?
Yeah.
I went to Europe 4, 5, 6 years ago. I don't know what it was. And as I went to Europe, I said to myself, I said to Jennifer, I said, I'm going to meet someone I know in Europe. And I mean, it's one of those things wherever I go, I meet someone I know. It's really actually entertaining. And so I'm always like cautious, make sure no one sees what I'm doing. Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Right? I'm kidding. But Heather, I'm serious. I said that. On the last day, I'm in Genoa, where Columbus, there's a big statue of Columbus if you've been there, Italy. And that's where Columbus was from, big statue of him. I'm walking into the Sheraton. As I'm walking in, last day, I hear these words, George? Mike? And it was Mike Ferry. And I still remember how crazy it is that if you put something out there, how strange it is that this universe will provide everything you want. And I had been there 22 days and I had still not seen someone. And I kept saying to myself, I'm going to find someone. I'm going to meet someone I know. And I met 2 people, by the way. Mike and Sabrina. So my point to you is that maybe it doesn't always happen that simple or like you just said, Adam, but I do know that it happens. But if you never decide on what you want, the universe can't catch up to you. If you don't ever decide on what you want to have, well then there's nothing, then you're going to get exactly what you're getting, which is not deciding on anything. That is a decision, which is scary to say, but it is. So really get serious. That's why I'm always so passionate about where are you going? Because if you don't know, you are going to fail miserably and you will have deep disappointment because you don't get clear. Okay, any thoughts, comments? Thank you, Adam. All right, here we go. Let's roll. Thanks for reading.